when Robert Redford passed away in 2025. He left behind not just a legacy as the most handsome leading man of his era, but as a force for good in the world of independent cinema, and a muckraker behind the camera, shedding light on the issues that meant the most to him. His interests were varied, but he was an honorable, old-fashioned lefty to the end.
I think you kind of like men like that. Maybe because they're reckless, same as you. They see something they don't like, they shoot it up, burn it down.
And so we make them wards of the state, which means we accept the responsibility to feed them, to clothe them, to give them medical attention, not to starve them, not to torture them, not to humiliate them.
And if you don't like the laws, then change them.
After winning his Oscar for directing Ordinary People, and after 2 decades as a liberal pin-up, producing movies he thought might make a difference, he decided to make a film about an issue after his own heart: the treatment of the indigenous population of America and their descendants, in this case in New Mexico during Reagan's 80s, when more and more rights and land were being stripped from endangered ethnic groups. The natural resources were being starved, and the EPA had no interest in preserving the country that was taken by settlers.
He's irrigating parcel 1477, which is right here. It's in the middle of what's going to be the 13th fairway.
In this lively comedy drama based on a book by John Nichols, a farmer accidentally reroutes the town's water supply to his dead field, pissing off a developer that means to use the water for a new leisure palace that will turn the town into a resort and squeeze out the last of the people who still eke out a living on its arid soil.
What are you doing here?
I'm gonna sell the place. It's not good for anything anymore. This field's dying of thirst. Everybody else is sold out.
Did they say you could use the water?
Oh, shit. It must have come loose when I kicked it. I ought to shut it off, huh? Maybe I'll sleep on it.
As the crops grow, so does the chaos, with gunfire becoming as natural a phenomenon as the sound of hooves or crickets.
Huh?
30-30 Winchester.
What?
30-30 Winchester.
30-06, high velocity.
Remington 22 long.
30-30 Winchester.
A can of beef stew and a box of 16-gauge Express.
The film's heart beats loudest for John Hurd, playing a former left-wing lawyer who retired to Milagro to find peace, and instead finds himself press-ganged into service as a union leader for the people.
That's kind of a touchy situation, don't you think?
Don't you think this new recreation area is a touchy situation?
And what's the new recreation area got to do with Joe Mondragon?
Nothing, if you don't write anything about it.
And a lawyer for its least favorite son, who've grown so used to defeat, they forgot that there might be a path to victory.
So, Ruby, I don't know if he wants or if he needs representation. I've been away from this stuff for quite some time, and I don't know if I'm any good at it anymore. And besides, I've told you. Well, maybe I didn't tell you. I lost a lot of my cases. Come in.
Both of you know that Joe Mondragon is a fugitive from justice.
He's a fugitive anyway.
If you have any idea where he is, or any information that might be helpful in finding him, I suggest that now's the time to speak. How about yourself?
I have no idea.
I remind you that withholding information is a felony, so is harboring a fugitive. And if I discover that either of you is involved like that, I'll have you prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Hold it! I am Joe Mondragon's lawyer. And he has certain rights with which I'm sure you are familiar.
Firebrand Sonia Braga knows he still has fight in him, and his renewed determination becomes the Village's.
And I know, if it comes, it means the end for most of us. I know it is very complicated. That's why I asked our friend Charlie Bloom to talk to us tonight and explain things. Charlie?
Thank you, Ruby. See, once wealthier people from out of state move in, they want things. They want new schools for their children, not necessarily yours, for theirs. They want new roads, they want new sewage systems, or cleaner water for their shiny new faucets. And for all of these things, they are able to pay. But at the same time, you also are going to have to pay. Your taxes are going to go sky high. And it is doubtful, very, very doubtful, that any of you will be holding the new higher-paying jobs. Unless, of course, you happen to be a golf pro. So my guess is that most of you will be forced to sell out and to move elsewhere.
Their forces combined make for a beautiful portrait of friendship in the face of adversity and display a belief in something beyond their own circumstances. Some people are just too good at advocating for others to stay silent for long. Many Redford films were comparatively fatuous, but he earned a life pass. From me, anyway, when he made this. The 80s were, in many ways, the last gasp of the American labor film. Because the labor movement had enemies so big, they could only be chipped away at, as they were too big to defeat. The powers that be knew they had honest people on the run, and in too many ways we still haven't recovered from Reagan's presidency, which ossified American politics to the point where only a king could sit atop the heap.
But look at us. They're herding us into these packing houses like a bunch of cattle. And every day them bosses and foremen squeeze a little more life out of us. And we get out on the kill floor, we're gonna be exactly what the company wants us to be. 'Cause we're gonna be too scared to be anything else. And we're gonna have to live like that for the rest of our lives.
And thus the image of the cowboy, into which Reagan so heavily leaned, had to be challenged too.
He sent me here to this pile of shit because he think I belong here. I want to find out if they're right. There's a whole machine that works because everybody does what they're supposed to. I found out I was supposed to be something I didn't like. That's what's in the program. That's my rotten little part in the rotten machine. I don't like it. So I'm going to find out if they're right.
Redford looked hard at the American male and tried to get his audience to see that the people under their boots were the ones with more claim to the country's attention, to their land. Redford's plight was that of the oppressed.
What's the trouble here, gentlemen?
Joe's trying to steal government property.
How can I steal something that already belongs
Not
to
after
me?
she ate our federal ground.
Whoa! Jerry, why don't you holster the gun before somebody gets hurt?
I waited a long time to watch this movie, because it was my grandfather's favorite film, and something about that seemed daunting to me, uncool, maybe. Maybe I was rebelling against the man who was so angry so much of the time.
Thank you, God, for letting me have another day.
And yet always spoke of this well-meaning comedy in the most glowing terms. He was raised in poverty in the Southwest, the lead characters of this movie exhibit, but the film nevertheless represents all the things he didn't find in his version of New Mexico. Happiness, hope, a community, love, support. The land didn't give him his purpose, and so he spent his life running away from it, vowing to never be poor again, never to return to the misery and racism of the place. In this regard, it's difficult not to see the film as a Hollywood lie, but nevertheless a powerful and potent one that meant something to my grandfather, one that stayed with him well into his dotage. Sitting in a palliative care home, a widower, sick and dying, we arranged a way for him to see the film one last time. It was my last gift to him. A hard man to love, but even he deserved art that reached out and loved him back. We all do, and that is Redford's point. The Milagro Beanfield War may just be a well-meaning comedic fable filled with great performances, but its soil is rich with soul, with Redford's care, and it's endemic of the sympathy that so animated his work. Redford wanted to be the anti-Ronald Reagan, and he used his art to stand up for all of us.
Be ashamed to let it all die now.
Okay, Bloom.
He'll be missed as the beatific face of the American drama, yes, but as a man who worked to make film better, to make life better.